on his work. De opere sua, I am not I. Then sayest thou, why is this word? Know, my son, that this first person is but the common figure of the speech of men, whereof the Magus may avail himself without implication of metaphysic, yet in the mystery of illusion, which is the instrument of the universal will, I will not say the harlot of its pleasure, are manifested these many stars, and amongst them that logos of the aeon of Horus, whom thou callest to Megatherion and thy father. And this is by come through virtue of the intensity of the will to change, through many a serpent phase of life and death, until in the play and the game its manifestation is the utterance of this word of the aeon, this law of Thelema, and that shall be for a season the formula of the magic of the earth. Who then should inquire of the further destiny of that star or of another? It is the play of the game, and the operation of its function shall suffice it. Rid thyself thereof of this thought of I apart from all, by attaining to consciousness of all by our true way. Contemplate the play of illusion by thine instrument of mind and sense, leaving it without care to continue in its own path of change.
De fratribus nigris. O my son, know this concerning the black brothers that cry, I am I. This is false and delusion, for the law endureth not exception. So then these brethren are not apart, as they vainly think being wrought by air, but are peculiar combinations of nature and her variety. Rejoice then, even in the contemplation of these, for they are proper to perfection, and adornments of beauty, like a mole upon the cheek of a woman. Shall I then say that were it of thine own nature, even thine to compose so sinister a complex, thou shouldest not strive therewith, destroying it by love, but continue in that way? I deny not this hastily, nor affirm, nay, shall I even utter a hint for which I may foresee, for it is in mine own nature to think that in this matter the sum of wisdom is silent. But this I say, and that bold, thou shalt not look upon this whore with fear or with hate, but accept all this as thou dost all else, as a phenomenon of change, that is, love. For in a swift stream thou mayest behold a twig, held steady for a while by the play of the water, and by this analogue thou mayest understand the nature of this mystery of the path of perfection.
On the Alchemical Art. De Arte Alchemistica. Wilt thou acquaint thyself now further at my reproof concerning this Arcanum of Alchemia, the art Egyptian, how to make gold? Of a surety this is already in thy knowledge, if thou examine by our holy Kabbalah what be the forces that are the influx upon Tiferet, which is the harmony and beauty or soul, in every kingdom of the universe. So then, among metals, now this influx is fivefold. First, from the crown descendeth the high priestess in the path of the moon, for inspiration and imagination and idea. See to it this virgin be pure, for herein error is illusion. Next, from the father floweth the power of the emperor and the path of the ram, for initiative and energy and determination. Third, from the mother are the lovers in the path of the twins, for intellectual wholeness and for adjustment to environment. These three from this supernals, and complete the etheric of thy work. After this, in the praxis and executive thereof, thou hast the hermit, as an influence from the sphere of Jupiter in the path of the Virgin, for secrecy and for concentration and for prudence. Lastly, from the sphere of Mars travelleth justice in the path of the balance, for good judgment and tact and art. O my son, in this chapter is more wisdom than in 10,000 folios of the alchemists. Study therefore to acquire skill in this method and experience, for this gold is not only of the metals, but of every sphere, and this key is of virtue to enter every palace of perfection.
On woman who is fit for a jest, de femina que est propria joco. O my son, hear this wisdom of experience. How at thy first sight, when I put thee into the arms of Athia, thy sweet stepmother, my concubine, such was thy beauty that she became enamored of thee, crying aloud, Ay me, and such be the fruit of thy magic, O my master, then let me also, even me, give myself utterly to this holy art. Then did I, becoming heavy in spirit, make question of her, saying, To what end? And at this she was confounded, and brought into bewilderment, but after a great while, fumbling in her mind, made answer, like a scarecrow in the field, so was it, for rags and tatters of thought. Thus yet more atribulous and sluggard was this liver of thy father, so that I fell into a gloom night unto weeping. Then she, beholding me with amazement, cried upon me thus, Art thou not glad in heart, O my master? At this I gave a sigh, even as one nigh unto death. And she, If this be so, then is no need any more for me to give myself to magic? Thereat, perceiving yet again the jest universal of our Lord Pan, was I swallowed up, like unto Jonah of the old fable, in the belly of the whale called laughter. And it seemeth to me, at this present writing, that I am like to abide therein for the time that remaineth to me in this body.
Of the formula of woman, de formula feminae. Now this is the right power and property of a woman, to arrange and to adjust all things that exist in their proper sphere, but not to create or to transcend. Therefore, in all practical matters is she of might and of wit to produce an effect consonant with her mood. And her symbol is water, that seeketh the level, whether for wrath, eating away the mountains, yet even in this making smooth the plains, or for love, in fecundity of earth. But it is the fire of man that hath heaved up those mountains in huge turmoil. Man them maketh mischief and trouble by his violence, be his will convenient to his environment or antipathetic. But woman disturbeth by manipulation, adroit or sinister as her mood may be of order or of disorder. For any man to meddle in her affair is folly, for he comprehendeth not quiet. So also for her to emulate him in his office is fatuity. Therefore, in magic, though a woman excel all men in every quality that is profitable for her for attainment, yet she is not in that work, even as a man without hands in the shop of a carpenter. For she hath not the organism that might make use of this opportunity. Of all this is she aware by her instinct, for her nature is to understand, even without knowledge. And if thou doubt herein the wisdom of thy sire, do thou seek out a woman, but with precaution, and affirm these my words. So shall she wax woundily wrath, and look grisly upon thee, proclaiming in a shrill voice her manifold excellences, which she hath, and concern the matter not a whit.
His Master's Words on Women. Verba Magistra su de femina. Of 1,000 years it is nigh unto the 50th part, O my son, since I obtained favor in the light of the great Master of Truth, whom men call Allan Bennett, so that he received me for his discipulus in magic. And he was instant with me in his matter, and vehement, adjuring his gods that this, which I have myself here above declared unto thee, was the truth concerning the nature of women. But I, being but a youth, and headstrong, and being enraptured in love of women, and admiration of them, and worship, delighting in them eagerly, and learning constantly from them, nourished by the milk of their mystery, as should be for all true men, did resist angrily the doctrine of the most holy man of God. And because, as it was written, he was a vowed virgin from his birth, and had no commerce with any of the way of carnality, I disabled his judgments herein, as if he, being a fish, had disallowed the flight of birds. But I, O my son, am not wholly ignorant of women, save as all men must be in the limitation of their nature, for the number of my concubines is not notably or shamefully exceeded by that of the phases of the moon since my birth. Many also have been my disciples in magic that were women, and, more also, I do owe acknowledging the same with open gladness, the greater part of mine own initiation and advancement to the operation of women. Notwithstanding all these things, I bow humbly before Alan Bennett, and repent mine insolence, for his saying was sooth.
On the proper conduct of a woman, de via propria feminis. It is indeed easy for a woman to obtain the experience of magic, in a certain sort, as visions, trances, and the like, yet they take no hold upon her to transform her as with men, but pass only as images upon a speculum. So then a woman advanceth never in magic, but remaineth the same, rightly or wrongly ordered according to the force that moveth her. Here therefore is the limit of her aspiration in magic, to abide joyous and obedient beneath the man that her instinct shall divine, so that by habit, becoming a temple well ordered, comely and consecrated, she may in her next incarnation attract by her fitness a man's soul. For this cause hath man esteemed constancy and patience as qualities preeminent in good women, because by these she gaineth her going toward our godliness. Her ordeal therefore is principally to resist moods, which make disorder that is of Choronzon. Also, let her be content in this way, for verily she hath a noble and excellent portion in our holy banquet, and escapeth many a peril that is proper to us others. Only be she in awe and wariness, for in her is no principle of resistance to Choronzon, so that if she become disordered in her moods, as by lust, or by drunkenness, or by idleness, she hath no standard whereunto she may rally her forces. In this see thou her need of a well-guarded life, and of a true man for her God.
Further concerning this, De hac re altera intelligenda. Mark then, O my son, how in the antient books of magic it is man that selleth his soul unto the devil, but woman that maketh pact with him. For she hath constantly the wit and power to arrange things at his bidding, and she payeth this price of his alliance. But a man hath one jewel, and bartering this he becometh the mockery of Saturnus. Let then his tutor thee in thine own art of magic, that thou employ women in all practical matters, to order them with cunning, but men in thy need of transfiguration or transmutation. In a trope let the woman direct the chess play of life, but the man alter the rules, if he so will. Lo, in ill play is mischief and disorder, but in a new law is earthquake, and destruction of the root of things. Therefore is fear of any man that is in commerce with his genius, for none knoweth if his law shall amend the game or do it hurt. And of this the proof is in experience, won after the victory of his will, when there is no way of return. As saith the poet, vestigia nulla retrorsum, nor do thou fear to create. For, even as I have written in the Book of Lies, falsely so called, thou canst create nothing that is not God. But beware of false creations wrought by women in whom is no function thereof, for they are phantoms, poisonous vapours, bred of the moon in her witchcraft of blood.
On the Keys of Death and the Devil, Arcana of the Tarot of the RC Brotherhood. De clavibus mortis et diabli, Arcanus tau Tarot fraternitatis RC. It shall profit thee much, O my son, or I err, that I instruct thee in the mysteries of the paths of Nun and of Ayin, that in our rota are figured in the Atu called death and that called the devil. Of these, Nun joineth the sun with Venus, and is referred to Scorpio in the zodiac. This path is perilous, for it seeketh the level, and may abase thee, except thou take heed unto the going. Of its 3 modes, the Scorpio destroyeth himself, as if it were a type of animal pleasure. Next, the serpent is proper to works of change or magic, yet is he poisoned also unless thou hast wit to enchant him. Lastly, the eagle is subtlest in this sort, so that this path is proper to a transcendental labor. Yet all of these are in the way of death, so that thy wand is dissolved and corroded in the waters of the cup, and must be renewed by virtue of thy nature in its course. For fire is extinguished by water, but upon earth it burneth freely, and is inflamed by the wind. Understand also that which is written concerning the Vesica, that is the mother, giving ease, sleep, and death, which consolations are eschewed by the true man or hero.
Further on these paths, Sequitur Deus Vius. Now on the path of Ayin is a link between Mercury and the sun, and in the zodiac importeth the goat. This goat is also called Strength, and standeth in the meridian at the sunrise of spring. And it is his nature to leap upon the mountains, so therefore is he a symbol of true magic, and his name Baphomet. Wherefore did I design him as an Atu of Thoth, the 15th, and put his image in the front of my book, The Ritual of High Magic, which was the second part of my thesis for the grade of Major Adept, when I was clothed about with the body called Alphonse Louis Constant. Now the goat flieth not as doth the eagle, but consider this also, that it is the true nature of man to dwell upon the earth, so that his flights are oft but fantasy. Yea, the eagle also is bound to his eyrie, nor feedeth upon air. Therefore this goat, making each leap with fervor, yet all times secure in his own element. True hieroglyph of the magician. Mark also, this path sheweth one continuous in exaltation upon a throne, and so it is the formula of the man, as the other was of the woman.
On the eye of HOOR, de oculo HOOR, I say furthermore that this path is of the circle, and of the eye of Horus that sleepeth not, but is vigilant. The circle is all perfect, equal every way. But the Vesia hath bitter need, and seeketh thy medicine, that is of right compound for high purpose, to ease her infirmity. Thus is thy will frustrated, and thy mind distracted, and thy work lamed, if it be not brought to naught. Also, thy puissance in thine art is mimished by a full moiety, as I do esteem it. But the eye of Horus hath no need, and is free in his will, not seeking a level or requiring a medicine, and is fit and worthy to be the companion and the ally of thee in thy work, as a friend to thee, not mistress and not slave, that seek ever with slyness and deceit to encompass their own ends. There is moreover a reason in physics for my word. Study thou his matter in the laws of the changes of nature. For things unlike do in their marriage produce a child which is relatively stable and resisteth change. But things like increase mutually the potential of their particular natures. Howbeit each path hath his own use, and thou being instructed in all ways, choose thine with discretion.
On his initiation, de sua initiatione. My son, my delight, honey of the comb of my life. I will say also this concerning the odds of the formulae of male and female, that mine initiation was ordered as followeth. First, unto the middle of the way, the attainment of knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, were these men appointed to mine aid: Jerome Pollitt of Kendal, Cecil Jones of Basingstoke, Alan Bennett of the Border, and Oscar Eckenstein of the Mountain, with no woman. But after the attainment hath word come to me only through women, Oarda the seer, and Virachem, and in mine initiation into the degree of Magus, the cat, Eopion, thy mother, Helen the play actress, the serpent, with Miriam the drunkard, and Rita the harlot to bear dagger and poison. Then these others, Alice the singing woman for a monkey, and Gerda the mad woman for an owl. Then Catherine the dog of Anubis, and Ahita the camel that renewed the work of Virachem, with Olin the dragon. And but here do I restrict myself in speech, for the end is wrapped about with a veil, as it were the face of a virgin. But do thou meditate strictly upon these findings, distinguishing the right property, order, and use of the one and the other in the relative, even as thou makest them all one, that is none, in the absolute.
Thelema 2.